So today, as I told, we are going to learn Salesforce flows. Okay, Salesforce flows. Now, whatever we have done till now mostly was associated with our security, Salesforce security, right? We have learned, in short, we have learned sharing model. In sharing, Salesforce sharing model, we have learned about profiles. From the bottom, we have learned Salesforce org wide default OWD. Then from there, we have moved on to uh, profiles, permission sets, roles, and then we have looked into the uh, different type of sharing rules, right? So multiple things we have already learned about the Salesforce security, and then now there is a requirement for us to learn about the automations, or how to handle things on its own, means like the business logic on its own without writing the code, right? So as we know, means the people who are already in Salesforce, I'm talking about those who have worked here in Salesforce for a longer time. They have uh, they are basically aware of multiple tools which Salesforce used to use in the past, like workflow rules, process builders, approval process are still there. But when the time Salesforce Lightning Flows came into the market, the Salesforce came to a conclusion that we are going to stop all our old other automations which can be handled with the help of flows, and we will just target to keep one automation thing, that's Salesforce Lightning Flows. And with this, we will be achieving everything that we are managing with the workflow rules, or with process builders, or automation, or basically approval processes. So all those things, Salesforce came to a conclusion that can be handled with the Lightning Flows and will be handled with the Lightning Flows in the future. So today, Salesforce has already deprecated two of its automation process called workflow rules and process builder. So let's look into it. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
You can hear me, right? Just a minute. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so now the Salesforce flows. Okay, the Salesforce flows. Before looking into the Salesforce flows, we will look into some of the other automation tool in Salesforce. So let's go to setup. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, good. So let's look into the workflow rules. Workflow rules. So in workflow rules, we were basically having the four things that the workflow rules used to handle. That was sending an email alert, doing a field update on the same object, okay, or basically sending an outbound message to an external system. So outbound message is sort of an integration, or it is in form of a SOAP-based API, which basically sends a message to external system. Like from Salesforce to SAP, if we want to send a message, we can do it only with the help of integration. Okay, so in Salesforce, without writing the code, if there's a requirement to do any sort of automation, the basic automation can be handled with the help of outbound messages. Okay, so this was something that can also be handled with the help of the workflow rule actions. And then there was other, the fourth type of the action which can be handled with the help of workflow rule was create a task. Okay, that means like whenever there is a record being created, along with the record, you can also create a task or a follow-up task, basically you can say, which with the help of which you can assign it to some sales representative or a customer support representative to work on that particular task. So these were the basic actions which was being handled in the Salesforce, basically in the workflow rules. Okay, these are the four actions. What are the four actions? Send an email alert, doing the field update, or send or basically create and create an outbound message and send it to an external system. Okay, and the fourth one is create a task. So these were the four actions which was being handled by the workflow rules. So now today if you see, if you open the workflow rule, it basically gives like what is the basic description. It says like it can handle the four actions. What was that? Task, email alerts, like assign a task, email alerts, field updates, and outbound messages. Okay, so if I click on continue, it gives me the existing flows. It gives me the existing workflows. But here, if I click on the new rules, if I click on the new rule, what it says is Flow Builder is the future of low code automation. You can create it. Most of the automation found in workflow rules start by using flows. Okay, that is nothing but your Salesforce Lightning flows. Now it still says like you have two options. Either you can continue with workflow rules or you can create with the flow builder. Okay, before going into that, again there is a message here in the yellow, that is like highlighted message. Go with the flow. With Flow Builder, the future of low code automation, you can do everything you do with the workflow rules. So whatever you were doing or achieving with the workflow rules, everything you can handle with the help of the Lightning flows. And more, Salesforce plans to retire workflow rules and recommend building the automation in Flow Builder. Okay, so Salesforce has planned to retire workflow rule. And let's say if we are continuing with the workflow rule, today it is allowing, but after some day it will not allow you. Okay, so today let's say this is my uh, developer org, and maybe because of which it is allowing, but in actual environments production it has been deprecated. Okay, so you can go into the Google, you can search about this news, workflow rules in Salesforce, okay, and retirement. So now if you see here, workflow rules and process builder end of support. Salesforce has stopped its support from Salesforce side. So now in this is a news from 5th March 2024. Okay, and there is a description which says Salesforce will no longer be supporting workflow rules and process builders on December 31st, 2025. And we recommend that you migrate your automation flow to Flow Builder by that time. So Salesforce is giving you a deadline, that is December 31st, 2025. If you are having workflow rules and anything that you have built on workflow rules and process builders, they are recommending you that migrate your all your automation to Flow Builder by that time, because they are not going to support you with the help of workflow rules and process builder if you are having any after that time. Because this news is now almost Salesforce is giving the very very long time. This is not a latest news. This is not the news from something 2025 or something 2024. This is now almost 2 to 3 years back only Salesforce has decided to stop or retire the workflow rules and process builder. And since then Salesforce has already given the deadline, like soon in future we are going to deprecate everything from the workflow rule, and we are not going to provide any sort of ongoing maintenance for workflow rule. And if in case you are still looking out to to achieve whatever functionality you are having with workflow rules and process builders. So we recommend you to transport it or migrate it to workflows, to lightning flows. Okay, rather than from workflows or process builder, migrate it to lightning flows. So this is Salesforce recommendation. If you are not doing it, so uh, will our workflow starts like stop running? So now let's read further. Okay, you are also probably wondering why we are retiring workflow rules and process builders. Salesforce wants to focus development on modern, extensible, low-code automation solution in Flow Builder, which let us to retire the previous features. Okay, what does this change mean to for me? If you are active workflow rules or process builder processes running after 2025, they will no longer receive customer support or bug fixes. Now, what Salesforce is saying, if you keep your workflow rules and process builders as it is, which is there in your org, it will not going to stop working. Your automations will not stop working until and unless there is a new features coming in, because Salesforce has three release every year. Salesforce comes with a three release every year. We have already learned this. One is summer release, winter release, and spring release. Okay, three release Salesforce has. In this three release, every release comes in a 4 month span, and Salesforce comes up with thousands of features every single release. Every single release, Salesforce comes with thousands of features. Now, this message, which it says, like Salesforce after 2025 will no longer receive any customer support or bug fixes on the workflow rules. They basically mean like whenever there is coming with a new release after this, it may happen like some of your features in your workflow rules may stop working, or your processes in the process builder can stop working. Okay, and that is the reason they don't want to do any sort of support and bug fixes for those sort of issues. And that is why they have recommending this, that end of December 31st 2025, that is end of this year, they are not going to help you after that. So by this time, if we are having any sort of workflow rules or process builders, so I have seen people, or I have seen projects where there were extensively used workflow rules and process builders. So now if they would have told this in a 3 months or 5 months time, it won't work. But they have already given this deadline in which year? 5th March 2024. That is 1.2 years back. And they have given almost like 9 months plus 12 months. That is like 21 months of time to migrate all their existing features from workflow rules to or process builders to a new lightning flows. Okay, so they are giving the time. And before this also, this discussion is not a new discussion. It is like almost happening from 2022 or 2021, that they are going to retire the workflow rules. But now they have came up with the deadlines. So what happens if I don't take any action after 31st December? Workflow rules and process builder may continue to function and execute existing automation. That's what I've said. Like it's not going to stop functioning for you. But customer support will not be available and bugs will not be fixed. So let's say some of the projects will still be continuing with their functionality as it is, as they're having multiple workflow rules and process builders. So let's say as and when they're coming into the hitting the bugs, they will start moving those workflow rules and process builders to a flow. Okay, that can also happen. But many projects, they have started moving or migrating their workflow rules and process builders to the new environment. So now I let's move back to our Salesforce environment. What is so process builders and workflow rule, again, process builder is was the again the old automation tool that was used in Salesforce, that is process builder. Okay, so process builder was also used like it was more advanced version of workflow rules. What was happening in process builder. It can handle everything from workflow rule, like um it can handle everything from workflow rules like uh, create a task, field update, send an email alert. I think outbound message was not handled in the process builder. That's what I remember. Outbound message was not handled in the process builder. And plus, apart from this, what process builder used to provide was it can create a record for you. It can basically post if you want to post to the chatter, that is like social media of Salesforce, internally used to communicate across projects within your Salesforce platform. Okay, that is chatter. So on chatter, if you want to make any post from process builders, it was possible. From process builder, we can invoke the Apex, that is your Salesforce programming language, that to write the Apex classes. That was possible. And from process builder, we can also handle approval process. You can basically submit the record for approvals. Okay, so those were some extra features apart from what was handled in the workflow rules. So process builder was a little bit more advanced than the workflow rules. Now, whatever you're getting in the process builders will be handled now in your flows. Plus, Salesforce flows are having a little bit of more features, like it can have a screen, so it can have so there are flows which can have guided user experience. So we're going to learn about the flows. Flows are of two types basically: screen flows and auto launched flows. Auto launched flows are further divided into multiple part, like record triggered flows, schedule triggered flows, or platform event triggered flows. Okay, so in Salesforce, when we go now to Salesforce flows, we are going to see what type of flows um, uh, are basically provided within our Salesforce platform. Okay, so let's look into the flows. Okay, so now flows. Yeah, so basically here it says we are already in the flows. So in the flows, what are the basically what is a Salesforce flow or what is a Lightning flow? Okay, so it is basically a automation tool, just like your workflow rules or process builder of the, like these are the tools of recent past of Salesforce, but still being used in some of the projects. Still, there are process builders and which can be still be modified. So those tools are still being used, but Salesforce is recommending now any new processes which you are creating, go for Salesforce flows. So this automation tool, flows, can be used, like it can collect data and it can perform action. So it can collect data and it can perform action. Uh, what sort of action? Like it can create a record, it can update a record, it can send an outbound message, or it can send a message to an external system. So it is little bit more advanced than your Salesforce workflow rules or process builders, as we told. And in Salesforce flow, in Salesforce flow, we are basically having like debugger as well. So in process builders and in our workflow rules, there was no way, like you have to debug it with your debug logs. Okay, and debugging was there, but Salesforce flows has its own debugger. Okay, so we have already seen, um, like not in detail, but we are already aware now of two of our older tools. Now let's get into more details into flows. Okay, so now if you see, if you open your org, you will be seeing some already existing flows in your org. Okay, so Salesforce provides these as an example uh, for you to understand and take it as a reference for your development work related to your flows. So there are multiple flows if you see here. Now here, if you see the process types, okay. Now Salesforce flows can be of two major types, as I told. Okay, it can be it's either screen flow or it can be automation flow. Okay, it can basically automation flow or auto triggered flow, I would say, auto launched flow. Okay, so screen flow and auto launch flows. Now, auto launch flows has multiple types. Now, when how to look into that? How many types of flows you can create? Just click on new flow build, new flow. If you click on this new flow, here it says what do you want to do? It is giving you an option. Okay, it is giving an option. Either you want to create a flow from scratch or you want to use a template. Okay, so template in the sense like Salesforce has already provided you some templates, right? So 65 pre-built flows. So you can use the template in initially to take a reference and create a flow. So let's see here. In after selecting the flow, what sort of template? Uh, Here it says like approval workflow. Okay, approval workflow, evaluate approval request. Then it is basic approval request, book appointment from invitation, cancel item flow. These are some of the templates which Salesforce is providing. And these are basically the types of flows which can be built with the help of Flow Builder. So this tool or the screen which we have entered after clicking on the new flow, we enter into this screen, and this screen is basically called as Flow Builder screen. On this Flow Builder screen, basically, when you will be working in your project, you will be working with uh, two types of flows, mainly screen flow or auto launch flow. Now, auto launch flow, when I selected here, it is like since I have selected it from a template, it is giving me some of the processes which Salesforce is already having. Okay, Salesforce is already having the template built up, and you can modify those. Like if you select this create order summary flow and create it, it will give you some sort of a it will give you some sort of template by default. So now here it says whatever you are seeing on the right side, whatever you are seeing on the right side, that is like after this particular lines are basically the properties. Whatever you are seeing on this line. So here in this window, it is what it is saying, work in panels and save a draft of your flow. The property window for most element is now a panel on the canvas. Now the complete screen, this complete screen is divided into two parts, or basically three parts, you can say. If I click on this button, if I click on this button, it will open me one more window, that is toolbox. Okay, I'm just closing this button for now. Whatever you are seeing before this, okay, before this line, this left side screen is your canvas. Right side screen is your property window. Okay, so whatever we want to set, the properties uh, for any of your, and whatever thing you are seeing on this canvas, okay, these are called as elements. Okay, this record trigger flows, this is a start element, then there is a get a record, then there is a decision element. Here it is a end screen, and here it is a order ID assignment. Then there is an action, it can be an apex action. Okay, and then there is an end screen, or if it is a record triggered flow, these screens you are not going to see. Okay, The elements you're not going to see. If it is a screen flow, some of the screen element you're going to see on the screen. Remaining these elements, whatever actions are there, these you're not going to see on your screen. So whenever a record is like a record triggered flow or auto launch flows. Okay, so basically if you want to take notes, you can take notes as it is, like what are the types of flows. So there are mainly five types of flow, mainly five I'm saying. There can be more. Okay, but these five types are most extensively used. What are those? Number one is your screen flows. In your screen flows, it is used to take user interaction. Okay, so if you want to take some user input, the screen flows are basically used. Now, the second type of flow is called auto launched flows. These auto launched flows basically runs in the background without taking any user input. From where it can be triggered? It can be triggered on any of the CRUD operation or on a click of a button. So it can basically execute based on certain events in Salesforce. Okay. Auto launch flows runs on events. Then we are having record triggered flows, which is also an auto launch flow. Okay. Now the record triggered flows is launched when there is a when there is a CRUD operation. CRUD in the sense like create, not read, create, update, and delete operation. Read operation, you're already reading the record, it will not operate. So create, update, and delete operation. If you want to execute any sort of automation, okay, let's say while creating a record, you want to create a associated or child. When you're creating an employee object record, you want to create a child record, that is employee salary record. You can go for record triggered flows, and in this record triggered flows, you can create a uh, basically you can create an action to create a child record associated with that particular record. Okay, so this window we have already read. You can interact with the flow while an element is open and access the toolbar while editing. Use undo or redo to affect the changes you make, okay, in the panel and across the flow. Let's dismiss this, or let's read the next. Here it is giving us the close button. So this is basically the close option. And the third is, while after you do any sort of your changes, you have to basically save your work. So you have to click on this save button to click uh, to basically get the record or the flow saved in your Salesforce org. Now, once you save the record, it will not work automatically. It will not work automatically because you have just created and saved the record, save the flow. It doesn't mean that it is going to work automatically. To make a record to flow work, you have to activate it. The first time you create any flow, it will not automatically start working. You have to activate it. So there is a button called as activate. After saving see the flow, it will work. The flow will work only when you activate the flow. Okay, so what are the types again? Since we are into this screen, so the first type is your screen flow. Second type is your auto launch flow. Third type is your record triggered flow. Auto launch flows can be of record triggered flows type, or it can be of scheduled flow type, or it can be of platform event flow type. So now the scheduled flow and the platform event flow are the next two types of your auto launched flow. So any flows, any flows that gets executed based on like automatically in the background, and you don't require uh, you don't require any always to take any action. So sometimes the auto launch flows can be executed on a regular basis based on a scheduled timing. So scheduled flows are basically used for that. Let's say you want to execute certain operation every night at 12 a.m. Okay, every morning or every night at 12 a.m. So that particular time, if you want to execute certain flow, you can make use of scheduled triggered flows. That will basically, if you want to see, let me leave here. Okay, so let's go back to the flow, new flow, start from scratch, click no, new. And now here, if it will give us all the six or basically all the types of flows. Now, the first one is screen flow. Second one is basically our record triggered flows. Third one is schedule triggered flows. Fourth one is platform event triggered flows. Now, auto launch flows without any trigger. And the last type is record triggered flow orchestration, record triggered orchestration. So every description is given here in the brief. So screen flows, it provides us guides users through a business process that launched from Salesforce page, experience cloud sites, quick action and more. Record triggered flows, or it launches when a record is created, updated and deleted. Okay, this auto launch flow is runs in the background. Okay, here it clearly mentions this auto launch flow runs in the background. So all the auto launch flows, mostly it runs in the background. Okay, now the third is also the auto launch flow, launches scheduled triggered flow, that is also auto launch flow, and it launches at a specified time and frequency for each record in a batch. This auto launch flow runs in the background again. Okay, next one is platform event triggered flow. Now, platform, what to understand the platform event triggered flows? First, we need to understand what is platform event. So, Salesforce, in Salesforce, there is an object called as platform event, which is a notification object. In Salesforce, let's compare it in this way. Uh, you have WhatsApp. You have WhatsApp, you get message on WhatsApp, some sort of notification you're getting, and based on that, you're taking some sort of action. Similarly, in Salesforce also, we can do certain operations and we can fire platform events. Firing a platform event basically like generate a platform event message, and we can when we fire this platform event, some flow or Salesforce flow which you want to handle this platform event, that will receive the platform event, and based on this notification it can take certain sort of action. Now these platform events are similar to our Salesforce objects. We have created the Salesforce object, it is similar to your Salesforce object. So to create a platform event, you have to go in your org, you have to search for platform event. Okay, platform events, it is used for integrations basically. Okay, now the platform events are, when you click on this new platform event, it will give you an option to create the object first. Whatever label and object name you will create, it will create the object first, and there can be two type of publish behavior. One is publish immediately, and another one is publish after commit. Now what this means is, when you want to publish this platform event message, do you want to publish as soon as the button is clicked, or you want to publish it after the record gets committed to the database? Okay, so when the record is committed to the database, like that is saved to the database, then only you want to publish the platform event. Then you have to select the option number 2. Or if you want to publish every time when, let's say, there is a button on click of save, I want to fire a platform event. So on click of save, there can happen like the record does not get saved, but still the platform event will be fired if you select the first option. Okay, this platform event can be fired on um, e- even if the record is not saved. Now, there is, if you select the option number 2, publish after commit, if you click on the save button, if this particular record gets saved to the Salesforce database, then and only then this record or the platform event will be published. So published basically means like the platform event will be fired. Okay. Whenever I'm saying like fired or publish, it means like the message is sent from the system. It is like uh, uh, it is like a message notification that you send from one system to other system, or it can also be handled within this same system is itself. Within the Salesforce platform also, these events can be fired. Okay. So that flow which we were talking about, the platform event triggered flow, will work, means it will get triggered only when the platform event will be triggered. So here it says launches when a platform event message is received. Whenever there is like a receive of platform event message, this platform event triggered flows will get executed. Now next type of the flow is auto launch flows. No trigger, it is saying. Okay, it is saying no trigger. Launches when invoked by Apex, processes, REST API, and more. This API, this auto launch flows runs in the background. Again, it is an auto launch flows and it runs in the background. Record triggered orchestration. Record triggered orchestration. Okay, launches when a record is triggered or updated. An orchestration lets you create a multi-step, multi-user process. Okay. Now, the first one which we are looking into, okay, we will first go into the depth of the screen flows. Before that, uh, we have already seen what is the like different types of uh, just what all we have already covered till now. We have we have looked into the differences between the flows, process builders, and the workflow rules, the features of the flows, process builders, and the workflow rule. Okay. Now, let's look into some use cases for which requirement which flows will be used. So the use case, let's say you want to collect some information from the user, or you want to collect the feedback from the user. Which flow you will go for? Now, let's say you have to answer this. Out of the 6 flows, which flow you will go for?
So it's screen flow.
Screen flow, absolutely. Okay. So let's say you want to send an automated email whenever a case is created. So which flow you will use out of this?
So record triggered flow.
Record triggered flows. Okay, perfect. Now, let's say you want to clean some data on your platform every month. Every month you have to clean the data. You have to store the data only for the 30 days. Which flow you will use?
So schedule triggered flow.
Schedule triggered flow. Okay. Now, let's say you want to automatically create a follow-up task. Okay, whenever a case record is created, which flow you will go for?
So record triggered flow.
Record triggered flow. Okay. Now, uh, in case, basically, in case of that, yeah, in case of that, you can go with the record triggered flow because it has to be happened uh, with the help of the event, the create event, right? So it has to be used with the record triggered flow. Now, you have to prompt. Uh, now, just a minute. Let's say when there is a requirement, okay, there's a requirement, you need to send a You need to send a email notification whenever there is, let's say, there is a call coming from us SAP to Salesforce. And once this API call sends you a message, along with it, you need to update something in Salesforce and send again a notification to, let's say, .NET system, what you will use.
The platform event triggered flow.
Platform event triggered flow. Very nice. Okay, so any sort of like requirement where you're receiving the messages, and based on that you have to take some action, you will go with the help of the platform triggered flow. Okay, so that will basically like with on the receiving of the message, you can generate a platform event. On the receive of the platform event, you can execute a you execute a flow and basically send the email notification to or something to any external system. So you can use all that. Now, those six types are the recommended types. Why it is recommended types? Because most of the time you will be working with these flows. Okay, whenever there is a requirement to work with a screen flow, you will be working with the help of screen flow, or else most of the time you will be working with the other five major types of flows. Uh, Now, record triggered orchestration. It says like launches when a record is created or updated. And orchestration lets you create a multi-step, multi-user process. Okay, so for different users, different process, something like that. If you want to handle, then you can make the use of record triggered orchestration. Apart from that, if you look into there is like multiple types of flows: auto launched approval orchestration, launches when invoked by Apex, REST API, custom buttons, or custom links. Standard approval orchestration lets you create a multi-step, multi-user approval process, right? Auto launched flows, no trigger, launches when invoked by Apex, process, REST API, and more. This auto launched flow runs in the background. This we have already seen these two. No, sorry, this auto launched flow we have already seen here. Auto launched approval orchestration we haven't seen. This is a different type of flow. Auto launched orchestration, no trigger, launches when invoked by Apex, REST API, and more. So, like as I told, the previous scenario where we have worked with the platform event. So, any REST API related flows, if you want to execute, you can also use make work with the help of auto launch flow, or like let's say, or based on receiving the REST API, you're not firing any platform events, then you can go with the help of auto launched flow without like when you're receiving any message from the external system. Similarly, here also launches when invoked by Apex, REST API, custom button, multi approval process, uh, multi-step, multi-user process, approval process. You can go with this sort of flows. So based on your requirement, based you have to identify which flows. It's like some some activity can be handled with the help of platform event flow and auto launch flows as well. Some activity can be handled with the help of record triggered flows and auto launch flows as well. So you need to identify which one will be better. Like you can use both, but which one would be better, that you need to identify. Okay, in a longer run, which one would be better. So similarly, like what all we have seen from this, you will find most of them here, like because this is all flow types and this is recommended flow types. So these six will already be there in this. Along with that, there is a cart async flow, content request flow, flow orchestration for CMS, these individual object link flow. Then you have recommendation strategy flow, record triggered approval orchestration. This I think we have already seen, record triggered orchestration. Okay. No, record triggered orchestration. And then there is a record triggered approval orchestration. These are very specific flows. Okay. Not always used. Most of the time, we will be working with the recommended ones only. And If you are able to work with the recommended ones, you should be able to work with the specific use cases whenever there is a requirement, right? So here, if this like flow orchestration for CMS, so it says like Salesforce CMS may be Salesforce product, which flow orchestration you have to work on. Then you have to go with this particular use case. Not everyone is going to work with this all the time. Similarly, contact request flow. Create self-service form to collect contact details. Not used all the times. Okay. User provisioning flow. Create a user account and link to a third-party service or app. So such flows are basically not regular sort of flows. What is the regular flow? Screen flow. So let's as we are already entered into this flow builder. Okay. So this flow builder we have already seen what all we have learned within the flow builder. The flow builder has the canvas. Okay. If I close this, if I click on the flow, new flow, okay, I am directly landing on that particular page only, right? So this is the background where we are seeing the background. This particular left side of the screen is called as toolbox. The right screen, if I select this, click on next, click on select screen flow, click create. This right side screen, this is my canvas. The left side screen is my toolbox. Within the toolbox, there we will be finding multiple new resources, right? So which will be helpful for you to create your flows. Now, any flow which you will create, automatically you will get one start screen and one end screen. So in screen flows, basically you will get the screen flow element as a start. Whatever, if it is a record triggered flow, you will receive a record triggered flow at the beginning as a start element, and end screen will always be same. You can have multiple end screen if you want, like different processes to be carried out in between, and end anywhere at in between, like after a certain thing is achieved, you can have multiple like that is why this process is called as flow. You can end it, let's say, in four different end screens, A, B, C, D. If the, let's say, if user selects A, there is a different end process. Update the contact data with A. If user selects B, update the contact data with B. So all sort of things you can handle with the help of uh, flow, like any sort of business logic basically can be handled with the um, flow. Now we are within the flow builder. Once we entered this screen, once we entered into this screen, this flow builder is basically your visual workspace for building your automations. The flow builders are basically your visual workspace. Okay. It will basically help you to proceed further. From here, if you want to proceed further, you want to design, develop, test, and deploy your flow, you have to be on this screen. And from here, you can design your flow, develop, test your flow also. To test your flow, there is a debug button here on the right, on the top. It will be visible once you have your flow developed. Since we have just clicked on the new screen flow, we are not having any elements till now. We are not having any elements, right? So to add elements, we need to click on, okay, or you can just click here. Okay, you can just click on add this plus button, and you can have a, like, since this is a screen flow, you can add any sort of a screen. Okay, apart from the screen, what all things is there? Action, subflows, assignment, decision, loops, transform, collection sort, collection filter, create records, update records, get records, delete records, rollback records, right? So these all things are there as an elements. What are these things called as elements? Now the first three elements are called as interaction element. The first three elements are called as interaction element, since it will be interactive. Let's say you are already having some sort of screen flow existing and you want to make use of that, okay, screen flow. It will come under a subflow, okay, which is like an already existing flows, or it can be a it can be a screen flow or it can be an auto launch flow, it doesn't matter. It will get executed first. Let's say if you're adding it here, and if it is having a screen, then it will show that particular flow, and then it will get executed. Now action can be any sort of action, like send email, submit for approval. It can also be a apex action, okay, any sort of apex code. If you want to call from the flow, it is possible. Any sort of apex code is, again, let me repeat, apex code is your programming language which is used in Salesforce for doing any sort of automation. All right. So um, basically, we are writing business automations, what we are not able to achieve with the help of Salesforce automation tools in declarative, like admin tools. Whatever we are not achieving in declarative tools, we are writing those as a program. So it is like a development, more core development topic. And in our development program, we are covering it from the scratch till advanced level. All right. So Apex is a proprietary Salesforce language, and it can also be called from any sort of flows. Now, since this is a screen flow, what I'll choose is, the first thing I'll choose is a screen. The moment I click on the screen, it gives me few more things in the window. Okay, it gives me the screen window. And in this screen window, by default, which the things which you're going to see is, there is a header, there is a body, and there is a footer. In any sort of screen, uh, there is a header, there is a body, and there is a footer. Now, in the body, if you see, when I'm going to the body, I'm not seeing this blue color thing, whichever is there. Now, to add any components, we will go into the detail of it. Okay, since we are just learning more about the flow builder, let's look into the flow builder. Okay, we will come back to the screen to create more about it, more about the screen flows. Okay, but before that, let's look into the more details of the flow builder. Okay, let's look into the more details of the flow builder. So in the flow builder, this right side part is called as the canvas. The left side part is called as the toolbox. And if you need to add any elements, you just click on this plus symbol and it will add the element. It will give you the option to click to select the element that you want to add here. In between the start and the end flow, what element you want to add, you just need to click on this add button. This plus button will help you to add any sort of the element, right? The elements can be of interaction, logic, and data. Three types of elements is there in the flow. Interaction elements we have already seen. What are the logic elements? Now, logics are basically, most of the time it is used in your programs, right? Coding programs. But since flows can handle equivalent capability like your Apex code, and therefore it has the capability to handle the logic as well. Now, these logics works similar way like your programming logic. Okay. So what are the logics which can be handled? Assignment. Any value you want to assign to any variable, you go with the assignment variable. Then we are having decision. So any decision that you want to take based on, let's say, the value is yes or value is no, value is true or false, value is 1 or 0, some sort of decision, that sort of decision you can take with the help of decision logic element. Okay. So what it says, create path for the flow to take based based on the specified conditions. So as I told, if it is a yes, there will be a different path. If it is a no, there is a different path. That sort of decision can be created in the flow with the help of the decision element. Now, the next element is loop. Now, what is the loop? Loop is basically your, if you want to execute your code in an iterative manner, let's say there is a n number of records in a collection. Okay. So to use the loop within your flow or anywhere, you should first have more than one number of record, or else it will get executed once, right? Any loop, if you want to work with in actual mode, it will only get executed multiple times if you have multiple number of records. So loop iterates over collection of values or records. So multiple records, it will iterate and it will basically, let's say same operation you want to execute on multiple records, you can go with the help of loop. Just push all the record within a collection and iterate it with the help of a loop. It will iterate and it will end at the once the last record is operated. Okay, similarly, there is a transform logic to, it will basically transform some value into a new value. So transform your source data into a new target data set that uses new format, structures, and value. Okay, that is a transform. Then you have collection sort. So based on like whatever collection you are having, if you want to sort it based on like alphabetically, so you can use it collection sort. Then you have collection filter. Create a collection that's a subset of original collection. Okay, you already have a collection. You have fruits in it. Okay, let's say apple, bus, car. Then you have uh, some sort of let's say dog. Okay, in a collection. Okay, but you only want to take collection, you have to filter out based on the fruit value, and there is like already pre-existing list in which you already have created the filter. So you can filter those out based on like if it exists, uh, apple or banana, if it already exists in particular list, I want to filter it out. All right. Or let's say collection filter can also work, let's say for numbers. If there is a collection of so collection, what is collection basically? It is, it can be of two types, basically three types: list, set, and map. In Salesforce, we are basically, when we say collection, it can be list, set, and map. The list type of collection is basically the ordered type of collection where first element exists at index number 0, second elements exist at the index number 1, and so on. Okay, it is ordered and it can have duplicate values. Okay, this is again the topic of the Salesforce development. Okay, but I'm just giving you an overview. In development, we are going to learn it in more depth. But set is the collection of similar sort of data, but it is unordered. Set is a collection of unordered elements. Okay, where the order of elements is not known. The values are not stored like in a systematic manner. But in a set, we don't have duplicates. Set only like let's say if you are storing apple, banana, then apple, butterfruit, then the second apple will not be stored. It will be like apple, banana, butterfruit. So the second apple which you are storing, that will not be stored. Whereas in list, if you're storing apple, banana, apple, butterfruit, so in that it will store in the same order. First value will be apple, second value will be bananas, third value will be the apple, and the fourth value will be the butterfruit again. So list and set is like two major types where you're storing the values individually. Other than that, the third type is map. Map is a collection of key value pair. Okay, key value pair, where keys are unique. So keys are like set, and uh, values can be your duplicate. It can have duplicate values. Okay, so key value, like instead of having one element stored at one place, it has key value stored at each index, or index you say, or like it is like sort of a list. Okay, where you have a key and then you have a value. Let's say if you want to store some value like currency and country, or country and the currency, so that can be stored with the help of key value pair. So the key will be country name and the value will be like the currency name. So in India, India colon rupee, US colon dollar, China colon some whatever is used there, Japan colon yen, uh, UK colon grand, this pound. Okay, so if you want to store the information in that sort of manner, then you go for the map, right? So any such sort of filtering or something you want to do with the help of that, you make use of the collection filter. Now, next thing is your data elements. If you want to create records from the flow, you go with the create record. If you want to create the record, it will give you option to what sort of record you want to create. Okay, so that can be selected here, and once you select this, it will give you an option to select the what site of objects you want to select, right? Similarly, if you want to update any record, you select the update records data element. If you want to fetch the data, like just read the data, then you use the get records. So this get records will just find a record, and it will you will just get the record. So you can get the record based on the record ID, or anything like based on, let's say, the email, search email which you're passing in the screen. Based on that, you're passing it and get the contact. So it can be done with the help of get record. So it is basically used to read the data. Then you have delete record, and then you have rollback record. Rollback is like if you want to like if something is saved, means if something is changed, but you don't want to save it and just cancel it to the existing record value, then you go with the help of the rollback. Okay, then we go with the help of rollback records. Now, this is the elements part. This is the elements part. I'm closing this window. There is on the left side, there is again the toolbox. We are still learning about the flow builders. We will be learning about more about the screen flow in details. So I will come back to this again. But first look into what all things this flow builder offers. Okay. So let's click on the new resource. Okay, click on this new resource. This left side thing is called as toolbox. Right side, we are having the canvas. Let's click on the new resource. In the new resource, when you click on this new resource, you get a resource type. Okay, you get a resource type. From this resource, like anything you want to store in the Salesforce, you need require variables within the flows. It requires collections within the flows, right? You requires multiple other things. So basically, you require, if you want to store some constant value, you can store it in a constant. That will be a constant throughout your flows. It will not going to change. Okay, so variables, constant, formula. Formula is basically like any logic if you want to perform all the time. You can achieve, you can hold it like within a formula, and it will calculate when the formula is used in the flow. So let's say 2 minus 1, or a minus b you have to do all the time. A minus b you have to do all the time. Then you can go with the formula. Whatever user is giving in the A, and whatever user is giving in the B value in the screen flow, you have to do this formula a minus b in the formula, and you can set this, and you can use it like within the flow. It will all the time, whatever value you are storing in a variable minus the b variable, it will get basically return you all the time the whatever return value the formula is returning. you can use it as a result in the final screen. Okay, so that is like a simple automation I have told. It can be more advanced. It can handle like what value is there in one particular record. It can be numeric. It can be a text value. So formula can be of any type. All right. So then there is a text template. If you want to store some text, so store text that can be used and changed throughout the flow. So then you can use a text template. Similarly, as I told, collection, record choice set, pick list choice set. So these resources helps you, means at different phases of your flow, to basically act as a resource. As these are resources, and it helps you to store the value that can be used for your operational purpose within your flows. All right, so this is your resource part. Canceling it. Right side is your whenever you are selecting any sort of thing, you get this right side screen, which is called as your screen properties. Okay, so the canvas, toolbox, and the properties, this can be like not uh don't need to by heart it, but when you work with the flows, you will get into used to it, like where you are getting the properties, where you are getting the canvas, toolbox. So this is something like when you will be working with the flows, it will come to you handy. Okay, so what are the core elements? What are the core elements that you have learned about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, hello.
What's your question?
So what are the
Can
core?
you can you repeat?
Yeah, yeah. What are the elements? Like basically any core elements of a flow.
Okay, okay, sir. The first one is screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, then there's data, and then there is logic.
Right. So not screen. First one is your interaction
Yes, sir.
element,
Interaction. Interaction.
logic element, or the data element. These are the three elements.
Yes, sir.
Then in your interaction, you are having the screen or subflows or any actions. Then you're in your what was the second type? The date, the interaction, the uh, data, and logic. So in the logic, you are having loops, decision, assignments,
Assignment.
right? The iteration through the collection filter, collection sorting, any sort of like, if it is collection is there, you want to sort it from A to B or B to A to Z or Z to A, like on a uh, reverse order. So you can do it with the help of the collection sorting. Okay, so three major types of flows, key flow elements are there. Four elements are three types. Okay, in the screen flow, you will basically get this screen as an element. Similarly, in auto launch flows, it the core elements will be the similar interaction, data, and logic. But internal elements will keep on changing as the flows will change. Okay, only in the screen elements, only in the screen flows, you will be able to find the screen element, not in auto launched flows, not in record triggered flows. So those flows will not give you option to select a screen as a interaction element. All right. So only screen flows will give you the option to select this screen as an interaction element as within the flow. Got it? So this can be asked in the interviews, and you should be knowing to handle this. All right. So what are variables and resources? What is the variables?
Variables. Yes, variables. We can use different type of variables in a flow. Like there can be constants, There can be formulas, and there can simple a variable that can hold information throughout
Hmm.
the flow.
Yeah.
And
So
variable can be text, basically text, number,
yeah,
etc.
it can be also have text, numbers, formulas, collections,
Yes.
variable to it is used to hold the data with and operate on those data within your flows. All right. So we have seen about the basic things, right? So uh, we okay, let's look into the screen flow, or let's look auto launch flow. Okay. Mm, or let's look into the screen flow itself since we are on the screen flow now, right now. Okay, so we can take into a basic and then we will end the session. It's already 5:20. So how to work with a screen flow. Okay. Now here, if you see, when I clicked on this particular part, it says like header. It says me header. On the last part, it gives me footer, right? I am on the header part. On the right side, if I need to change anything, the flow label, my my first flow. Okay, click here. This is my header, API name, label, enter a value. Okay, my first flow, description. Okay, this is my first flow. Show the header, yes. Configure, show the footer, yes. Okay. Now here, if you see, uh, you have the more control on the footer. If you see, not just the footer, header also. You can hide the header with this button, with this checkbox. If you click this checkbox, you can hide the header. Okay. Similarly, you have footer. You can hide the footer as well with the help of this checkbox. If you clicked on this, you can hide the footer, and you have more flexibility. You have more flexibility to handle these buttons as well. Previous, finish, and pause. These buttons as well can be handled with the help of the these radio button. So let's say I want to keep just the previous and the finish button, not the pause button. I'll click on hide pause and I'll hide the hide button, like pause button. Okay. And what else? Select screen actions. So what? Uh, Add an active auto launch flow for each action after you select a flow. Select a flow, configure the screen action. So this is something like if you already have an auto launch flow and based on your selection, you want to execute certain sort of logic automatically. So it can happen with the help of add action. So this will basically return me all the existing auto launch flow, it seems. Yeah, these are all auto launched flows. It is existing, it is returning, but I don't want to create use any sort of existing screen action. Okay, what I saved my label as my first flow. So whatever I have kept as the label, it will be visible here on the top of my screen header. Okay, on the left side, what I want is I want text field. Okay, I want text field. And if I want to edit any sort of thing again on the text field, I will be using this property section. So in this, I'll just keep it as a name. Okay, name. If you want this field as a required field, you can select this checkbox. All right. Now the default value always display. Remaining thing, I will not be using it. Let's keep it simple. Okay, advanced. Okay, name. Now this is the name is there. Name done. My first screen flow. Okay. My first screen flow. Now, this is a basic flow that we have created, very basic flow. It has just one input value. Okay. I cannot use this flow until unless I save and activate it. So let's save it. But one thing is with activation is one thing that happens with the activation is if so let's save it anyways. Okay. The flow label is my first screen flow. Okay. I cannot use any flow without saving and activating. Okay. I have saved it. Okay. I have saved it. But like if I want to run it in actual project, I need to activate it. If I want to just execute it, if I want to just look into it, okay, how the screen will look like, I will use this run I don't want to use it in actual project till now, but I want to use this as a demo. I will use this. So name Ashish Kumar. If I click on finish, nothing will happen. If I click on finish, nothing will happen. It will again keep here. It will still remain here because don't have any sort of action after this. So till now, it is just giving me a full screen. Okay, and this it is just giving me a screen. But let's say there is a requirement. I take some sort of input, name, email, uh, roll number, and I want to create a record, or let's say name, employee name, um, his type of work, and I want to create a record after it. So I what I can do is I have this screen component. Okay, this name. After this, I can assign those values. Okay, the name value, whatever I got, I can assign it to the employee name. And let's say if I am having also the employee type, permanent contract or whatever it is, I can store it in some variable. Again, using the assignment variable. And in the last part, in the last part, I can create a data. What sort of data? I can create a data screen. So let's say name I'm already having. Assignment I can do. In assignment, what I can do is, first let's create a variable. First, let's create a variable. Variable. Variable name is employee name. Employee name. Okay. Data type is just a text. Data type is text. Okay. Let's not keep any sort of default value. I'm just keeping the employee name. Employee name variable is created here. In assignment, what I'll do is, in assignment, assign employee name. Okay. Assign employee name. Within this, how I'll do the assignment? Employee name equals in the within the screen component, I'm having this name value. So my first flow, whatever value is coming from the name, and I'm saving it within my employee name variable. All right. So till here, I'll save this. Till here, I'll save this. Now, yeah, assignment I have done. In my first screen, I'm having a name. In my second screen, I'm assigning the name value to the employee name variable. Third screen, in the third part, I'll again add an element. What I will do, I need to create a record, right? I need to create a record. I'll create record. Create create employee record. Create employee record. All right. From a record variable, how to set record field values from a record variable. or manually how it is. So you can select, you can do it manually. Which object we want to create? Employee. Okay, employee or employee Naukri, whichever you have created in your org, we can select that. And here, how you will assign the value? Employee name, name field as, here is my variable employee name. Now this employee name is coming from my object. This employee name is coming from my object. This second employee name is coming from, this value is coming from my flow variable, which I have created here, employee name. This is my flow variable. Okay. Simple variable employee name. I am assigning this value to my flow variable and I am just saving it. Right. So I'm just saving it. Till here, everything is clear. Till here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, hmm, yeah, till now we have not activated it, but let's activate it now. Okay. I think we are just having one field value, right? Okay, let's activate it. No problem. Let's activate. If it gives any error, it will give, we will be able to debug it later. Or else, if we create any record from here, we should be able to get that particular record in our system. Now, let's run the flow again. Okay. Yeah. Flow employee. Okay, I'm just writing it flow employee so that I can recognize it. Let's, I think from here, okay, this screen flow. Let's see if it has created the record or not. Naukri. Okay, if you see here, it has created the employee record, which I've just created. From where? From my flow, which whatever value I have passed from there, it has received those values and it has created a record for me. So this is a very simple use case scenario with one single variable, one single input, and I'm able to achieve whatever I want. Similarly, if I want to assign all these values, I can do it in a similar fashion. First name, last name, salary, description, employee type. I can create a variable, I can assign the value, and I can send it to my database by using the data elements. Like I have used create a record element, it has created the record for me. So this is a very simple example of creating a screen flow. Any problem, any doubt till now?
No, sir. Oh,
No? Okay. So now this flow, whatever we have created, whatever the flow which we have created, it will like, this is our first demo, first simple thing. Uh, Tomorrow, let's say we will go into a little bit more depth in debugging. So we can use this debug button, how to use this debug and see like how we can basically debug a flow. If some problem is occurring, you have to debug the flow. Why the flow is not working? So with this debug button, means we, since it's already 5:30. Okay. So you need to, you are having some work, right, Ajay? So we will be ending the session. We will look into this tomorrow. So with the help of the debug, any particular time, if you're facing any issue, you have to debug the flow. So with debugging the flow, you will be getting like each variable, what value is being assigned, where the flow is basically stopping to execute. So all such things will be visible with the help of flow debugging. So for today, let's end the session till here. Do you have any doubts?
no, sir.
No? Okay. So in that particular case, let's end the session here. And I think tomorrow also we will be having the session in the evening. So will 4 to 6 work for you?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. It will
4
work.
to 4 to 6 would be fine, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will be having the session evening only, 4 to 6. Okay, so thank you for joining,
Okay.
and
Thank you.
I'll end the session for today. Thank you.